welcome back to the 4th episode of The Rookies. I can't imagine that we're already 4 episodes in. This is crazy. Today I'm joined with David and Sarah, two also interns for this episode, so I'm super excited that y'all are here.
Yeah, the fan favorites. We were here for episode 1.
Yes.
Ready for
They're back for another episode of them. So today we're going to be hitting on some bratty sports moments, some crazy trades, some Braves trades possibly, maybe Brian Snitker's contract's coming up. We're going to hit on that, whether he's going to be back. All-Star Week's coming up, and then we're going to have some trivia, and then we're going to end it with some really fun sports nicknames. So I'm excited for this episode today. So the bratty sports moments, we're going to hop right in. I saw it was the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. It was the Fever and was it the Suns? And did you see that? The fight at the very end? I mean, it was insane. Like, I know people give her such a hard time, obviously, because I don't think it's just like girls being jealous that she's so much better. But they like full got into like a hair pulling thing at the end of the half or whatever. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think there's different kinds of bratty in sports with like egotistical people and then girls. And that is a very good example of just girls being girls, just jealousy and being absolute brats.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of like rule changes to basketball, especially like professional, about what you can and can't do on the court in terms of fighting and arguing. And there's been a lot of recent media saying, oh, it's a little fight. Oh, this happened. They're trying to like boost it up. That was like a full-on fight. That's the first fight we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
It's good for sports. I mean, it got a lot of attention. And as much as I hate to see it for Caitlin Clark, it gets her more attention, and that's what she needs.
Yeah, and it's good for the game. It's good for the league, unfortunately. And like her and Angel Reese this entire season especially has been crazy, and then Twitter fighting and things like that. Like it's been absurd. So yeah. Have y'all seen anything else that's been kind of like players, or I know like I'll hit on like Rory in the media, like him not wanting to talk about the media. Like, is that him being a brat? Like, does he owe it to the media to talk about that kind of stuff, or what have y'all seen?
I think recently there's been a lot of different basketball players especially that have gotten to a point in their career where they realize they're not as relevant. We've seen Dylan Brooks, Patrick Beverly, even Grayson Allen, 3 guys that just aren't as high level as they want to be, and they take it upon themselves to become like the villain of the sport almost, and get in aggressive fights and have these arguments and showboat as much as possible in order to get more media surrounding them. And it works, just not really the way you want to see for sports. People have become sick of them, and it's sad to say, but Angel Reese has almost gotten to that where she's trying to make more forced attention toward herself by just saying these crazy things, even though she's only in her 2nd year.
Yeah.
Well, I also think the NIL is a very, very huge part of that, because the NIL is creating these players and these athletes and putting them as an image, and they want to make this money, so they have to present themselves in this way. And I think that's just a really big part of it too, especially Angel Reese is a great example of that. She has become, I feel like, a big villain in the WNBA, and that is due to, honestly, her NIL deals and everything like that. They want her to be this image. They are putting her out as this image so that she can make her money.
Yeah, I think I like the take on, I don't know, when people kind of feel like they're falling off their certain sport, or they're not getting enough attention pure on athleticism, or they're just getting too old. Honestly, they love to turn the tide and kind of be like, well, I'm going to make myself get attention because I'm not getting it based on how I'm playing. I'm not playing as much as I want, so I'm going to kind of be surrounded by this. And I don't even know if like Angel Reese, like, is she doing it because she purely hates Caitlin, or is it because she's purely jealous that Caitlin is doing much better than her and she's not getting enough attention?
I mean, it's great to be competitive. That's 100% what you want for sports. But it gets to a point where it becomes old, where you just see them trying to say the most wild thing they can to see if they can get on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah.
And it just becomes old at some point, and you get sick of it.
Yeah. Have you all seen they were talking about this in the locker room the other day. Rory McIlroy is like kind of refusing to talk to the media, especially at Oakmont, which Oakmont is such a hard course. No one really wanted to talk to the media after that scene. I mean, the fact that JJ Spawn won at 1 under is crazy, but in not even Oakmont in the US Open, like, he's just refused to talk to a lot of media recently because he doesn't want to. He knows he's going to be scrutinized and things like that. So when it comes to that kind of situation, do you guys think that players like Rory, professional players, basketball players, football players, do you think they owe it to people because of their status to do post-game interviews and to do interviews at all with the media? Or do you think they have that right to privacy to kind of say, I don't want to speak to the media right now, and that's just my personal choice?
I mean, those people are just like you and I. They're normal people. They have lives. They have feelings. they are allowed to feel emotions, and yes, they may get backlash for it, but they are allowed to speak for themselves at some points. Like, not everything they do is for the people. They have to do things for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, like she said, there's a lot of just personal rights on being able to decline the media, but there's a difference between declining the media and ignoring the media. I think they deserve the right to decline respectfully, but it's one thing when you're just kind of walking away. Like, I was down at TPC Sawgrass, and Jordan Spieth didn't have his best day, went up to the media, said, guys, this is not my day, I don't really want to talk about it, and they accepted it, and he walked away. That's the right way to do it. You can't really play hide and seek with these interviewers, and that just becomes like silly at a point.
Yeah, and it is interesting because like I didn't even know that, but I feel like Jordan Spieth, I guess because I mean he's a great player, he's a very well-known player, but like he's a very humble player. Like Rory is kind of getting trashed by social media, by Twitter for doing the same thing that Jordan Spieth is doing, yet no one realizes that Jordan Spieth's doing, or like kind of saying it's okay that Jordan Spieth can do it, but like Rory McIlroy needs to come out and talk to the media. So I think there is a little bit of a there's a bias and there's a double standard for sure. And I think people love to bash on Rory, honestly, which I don't really understand why, but they do. Yeah. So
there's also a lot of hidden stuff that went behind the U.S. Open that the media didn't really get their full attention on. I don't know if y'all saw this, but back in the locker room at Oakmont, some of the lockers were absolutely destroyed.
Oh yeah,
smashed
Wyndham Clark,
metal and all.
Oh my gosh.
It's allegedly Wyndham Clark or Windham Clark. Just the way
Windham,
because he whines a lot. I mean, he's just.
Yeah,
he's very bratty guys.
Yeah, he was very emotional. And if you go into Full Swing, which is the Netflix documentary on like the PGA and the golfers and Live too, like that, he was very, very emotional, and he actually lost his mom to her battle with cancer. And I think through that battle, learning to kind of calm himself down. But obviously, like, golf is hard, and it gets emotions rising. I mean, I went out and played on Monday, and golly, it was like I just wanted to throw clubs, and like everyone was chucking clubs and breaking stuff and throwing things in the water, and it's like you kind of got to settle yourself down, because if not, in any sport, you're gonna let your emotions show on the field, on the court, and it just can get too much.
Yeah, every time I go out and play golf, I end up quitting on I'm on hole probably 5.
Yeah.
And I'm done. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going home.
Yeah, I don't, like, there's a point where I'm like, I don't even think I could finish 9, like, because it's just so hard.
I mean, that's the thing. I think people get too much hate for throwing their clubs or showing frustration on the course. Like, everyone does it. They're just human at a point. But stuff like smashing in the lockers, you got to at least acknowledge it. You can't hide away from that.
Have some respect.
There's a time and place to show, like, that kind of rage, and I just think I think the privacy with that is also, like, they're taking advantage of that, like smashing the lockers and everything like that. There's a time and place. I think, like, I forget who it was, but it was close to the final round of the U.S. Open, and there was one player that was in the dunes, and he could not get the ball out, and he was smashing his club and all of that. Like, I think that's fine, but honestly, because, like, I don't know, that's how I would react.
That
like,
rage is okay. Yeah. You're on the course.
Yes, but I mean, smashing the lockers, like, damaging property, like, if it's not your own, like, that's not okay.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think all that's been getting a lot of, like, media attention. And then something else that I want to touch on that's also getting a lot of media attention is Braves and All-Star and potential trades. One thing is Snicker, this is his last year. His contract is up after this year. And so kind of playing around with, is this his last year? Like, is there any possible world in which Brian Snicker is no longer with the Braves? That kind of seems insane to even possibly talk about. But then he just got picked as the NL assistant coach manager to Dave Roberts, which is playing for the Dodgers. But it's kind of like, did he get that just because the All-Star game's in Atlanta this year? Probably. Yes. Like, definitely, probably. But then what do y'all think with him? And I guess, like, is the possibility of him going somewhere else, or him just being, cut off from the Braves, is that a possibility?
I think it's tough with, especially your manager. Snit gets a lot of hate. And some of it's deserved. Some decisions are not the best, but at the same time, like we saw with the Mets series earlier, Game 1, put in Raisel Iglesias, had a great game. Nobody gave him credit for it. So it's just, manager's a spot where you get none of the credit and all of the blame. Yeah. He gets a lot of the blame, and he is not the best decision maker at times, but I think a lot of things go underlooked. I mean, Cellini and Domino talked to Alex Anthopoulos earlier this week, and he said the Braves are not selling by any means unless they end up losing 30 games in a row, which I just don't see happening with this team. I think Snit's alongside of that not selling deal. I think they like where the team's at. They hit a rough spot, especially with Acuna, a lot of the leaders out and down for the count. But now people are back. We're starting to see a little more groove for the Braves, and I think they're just going to wait this one out to see if Snit gets her contract.
Yeah, I mean, every team has their bad days, and I feel like the Braves just hit a little bit of a spot. But, I mean, watching the Braves the past 2 days in the Mets series, I mean, yesterday especially, I was like, that's the Braves team that I know, you know? And honestly, I think, Snit gets a lot of hate, but I wanted to bring up his decision yesterday with Chris Sale taking him out in the 9th inning. I think that was a great decision. I know a lot of people would disagree with me, just letting him finish out the game, but I think that was...
He way overpitched. It was his time to go.
Way overpitched.
Yeah,
I think it's, like you said, like, managers, they have to make tough calls, and a lot of the times when good things happen, like, you attribute the players to that, but then when bad things happen, you want to blame the managers. And so I think it's kind of that double standard that everyone just creates for themselves in sports. But are there any prospect, like, Braves trades that y'all want to see? Are there any other crazy trades that are going on right now in the MLB or anywhere else that y'all have seen or want to see?
I know the Hawks draft is coming up in less than 2 weeks, and I'm really excited for that. I think they have a lot of great prospects coming into this draft. They have a great pick, one of the top 15, and especially there's a lot of rumors that they're going to try to trade for a big guy. There's KD on the market, Giannis on the market, some of those all-stars that could take you to the Eastern Conference Finals or beyond. We've seen some great runs from them in the future with Trae Young really carrying this team, but it's gotten to a point where you can just get to a certain place in the Eastern Conference before you just fall off. They need to find some way to reset. I think, especially, I would love to see Giannis in Atlanta.
That would be awesome.
Well,
you have to see how much you have to give up. I'd be willing to give up like a Jalen Johnson, and as well as like Clint Capella, hopefully, and as well like a couple other role players. You got Garrison Matthews, you got Vika Kovic, a bunch of guys that I would be sad to see go, but it's worth it for Giannis. Yeah,
I agree. And obviously nothing's really working for us right now.
Sure.
So it's kind of like maybe you need to take a step back and reset and really kind of trade for those bigger players that are going to give you the chance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
there was a point this year where the Hawks seemed like they were trying to hit exactly 500 on the season and just like be the most mid team in the NBA. And we've seen they have the potential to win games, especially against big opponents. I mean, they beat the Celtics multiple times this year. It's just they have to finish out the season consistently. Yeah. And Giannis would be a guy to get that done.
No, I agree.
I 100% agree. I would love to see Giannis on the Hawks.
That'd be so fun. I would love to see another big name. I think that'd be way more entertaining. I feel like the Hawks, especially, like, I'm not a really big NBA person, especially, but I think like having that big name in Atlanta would kind of be good for not only the sport, but also just like the culture of the Hawks. Like the Hawks and the Falcons, like, no one really deals with them because they're kind of the bottom of the food chain right now. And I think putting bigger names on those teams would be so awesome. I'm excited for Pennix this year on the Falcons. Like, that's
me too.
So exciting.
That's my cousin.
Really?
No.
Oh.
We just share a last name.
She lied.
Close enough.
Close enough. All right, guys, when we come back, we are going to go through some PGA Tour trivia. So we'll see you when we guys get back.
We're back with everyone's favorite segment. It's trivia time, and this time we have On the Green with Payton. We're gonna be testing her PGA knowledge, and we've got some pretty good questions.
I'm kind of nervous because I know a lot of golf, but at the same time, I am very nervous, and I also don't want to be the person that's like, oh, I know a lot of golf, and then miss every single question.
I'm pretty confident
that you have for me.
I was nervous for the basketball one, but it didn't go.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna have confidence in myself.
I have confidence. I have confidence.
Oh my gosh.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm nervous. Okay.
Question number 1.
Oh my gosh.
Starting off with a slightly easy one.
Okay.
What is Tiger Woods' real first name?
What? I don't know. Like, I never knew that.
Just for the audience, the answer is Eldrick.
Really?
Not Tiger.
I didn't know that.
Didn't know.
Eldrick.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I didn't know that. I didn't know the name thing.
All right, number 2. JJ Spawn had a huge comeback in the U.S.
He did.
Especially on the back nine of that Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name at least 2 of the last 3 U.S. Open champions? Before Spawn?
Yes, it was. Yeah, 2025 was JJ Spawn. It was Bryson DeChambeau.
There's one.
Past 2 of the 3.
We just talked about one recently.
Oh, Spieth.
Yep. Or no, not Spieth.
Oh, Wyndham Clark. Wyndham Clark won.
My awful joke about that.
Did he win 23? Or 23? He was 23. Bryson was 24.
2022 is one you wouldn't expect.
2022.
Give you some leeway if you can't get this one.
Is he live or PGA?
He, I believe is PGA.
Huh.
He's an American, I think.
I have no idea. Who is it?
Matt Fitzpatrick.
Oh, I knew that, but I guess I forgot.
One.
Yeah. And then I know, oh my gosh, DJ won it in 2018. Mm-hmm. I know that, but
no.
I'll give myself everything but Matt Fitzpatrick. Yeah, I'll give me those.
So speaking of the U.S. Open, there was a Georgia native who is only 17 years old. He was a junior in high school.
Yes.
And he played at Oakmont.
Yes.
Can you name this player?
Yep.
And maybe what high school in Georgia he goes to?
Mason Howell. He's from Brookwood in Thomasville, Georgia.
There we go.
And he is committed to the University of Georgia in 2026.
Go Dogs.
Well,
Go Dogs.
Cool. Dogs questions later on.
Let's go.
So, all right. Currently, 2 for 3.
Okay.
Number 4. With Rory winning the Grand Slam with a Masters victory this year, who was the first ever golfer to compete in the Grand Slam? Or to complete it?
To complete it?
Mm-hmm.
I know Tiger has one, but I don't think he was the first.
This was back in the 30s, 1930s. This
Okay.
is a guy.
It's not.
Very popular in Georgia.
It's not. Oh, Bobby Jones.
There you go.
Come on. Good
bit
job.
Of a throwback question.
A little bit of a throwback question. I was going between. I was
One
like
of my
Bobby
favorite
Jones,
courses
but then
in
I was like,
Georgia.
when is Arnold Palmer? So yeah.
Arnold Palmer, I believe, was right after him.
Right after him.
Bobby was the first to do
Bobby
it.
Jones. Let's go.
We got a couple. I asked around for some of these trivia questions. I was trying to get some good ones.
Who'd you ask?
I asked Colin, the audio engineer for Chuck and
gosh.
Chernoff, and he wanted to throw in a question of his own. So his question
my
was,
goodness.
what was the only South American to ever win the Masters? He is one guy that is golf guru. So
South American?
South American. Only South American to ever do it. It's back in 2009, if that helps.
I know Vijay Singh won. He was from Fiji. I feel like I'm going to know it when you say it.
It's not an unpopular name, I'd say.
Yeah, even I know it. I don't know much about golf.
Yeah.
A South American. And when was this, back in 2000 what?
2009.
Okay, do you know how old he was in 2000? Like, was he young? Is he old now?
Medium age.
Mm.
Middle.
Yeah, middle age.
Yeah, take a pass.
The answer was Angel Cabrera.
Angel Cabrera.
It's been a long day. It's only 10 a.m. But
Wineham Clark.
there we go. Wineham Clark. Going more locally, Georgia golf is back on the rise again.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch any of the TGL, the Atlanta Drive Club won the first ever SoFi Cup.
They did.
So there are 4 players on this roster. Can you name 3 of them?
Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas,
That's 2.
Billy Horschel.
Yep, that's 3.
He's a Florida
Any
boy.
chance
That's why I don't
of
like him. Billy Horschel, JT, Patrick, and then
Lucas.
Glover.
There you go. All right.
Impressive.
Doing pretty solid on the trivia so far.
Good job.
I
feel like I'm only really missed 2.
Last question. So, big UGA student. Know you're a big fan
I
of
do.
dogs.
Yep.
Here we go.
We talked about Mason Howell just a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
Alongside him, how many dogs are actively on the tour?
Oh.
You don't have to name them, just see if you have a number.
Okay, but maybe he's going to help. Sepp Straka, Russell Henley, Harris English, Davis Thompson, Henley, Straka, Thompson, English, Bubba. Kevin Kisner was a dog. He's not actively on tour anymore. I'm thinking of 5, but I'm going to say 6.
It's actually a good bit more. The answer is 10.
10?
I know, double-digit dogs.
10. Wait, I know I'm missing one. Dang, there's 10.
I know.
Wow.
Way to go, Georgia.
That's
Go
awesome.
Dogs.
Way to go, Georgia.
Well done. Well, that will do it for our trivia. I believe Payton went 5 for 7. Pretty
Good
good
job.
ball
Pretty
knowledge.
good.
And we'll be back for ball knowledge, this time with nicknames here on 680 The Rookies.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to the last segment of the 4th episode of The Rookies. We're going to start off with the host's most obscure question. And my question for you guys is, what is your favorite nickname in sports?
So I got to go with Stetson Bennett, the mailman. You
Go
know,
Dogs.
I'm a huge Georgia fan. You know, when Stetson Bennett first made his first debut at Georgia, I think it was against Arkansas in like 2020. I really didn't like him. And then he led us to 2 national championships, and
That'll make you like a quarterback.
yeah, he really showed himself, and I think he gained the he gained the nickname Mailman when we played, or the season that we won in 2022. You know, I met Stetson Bennett's mom in 2023 at the SoFi National Championship, and she was wearing a hat that said Mailman on it. And I don't know. I love it so much, you know.
It's a great nickname.
It's a great nickname, you know.
He always
really
delivers.
sends it. Yeah, he really sends it down
always
the field.
delivers.
Always.
Let's go.
This obscure question is pretty personal to me. I am a big nickname person. I love any type of nickname in sports. I think there's like 3 different levels to nicknames.
Oh, wow. He's getting really intricate with this.
I mean, we got time. Might as well.
We got time?
Yeah. Gotta fill 10 minutes. So I think for the nicknames, there's some good classic ones. Don't really have a lot to do specifically with the player, but it just makes sense. You got Calvin Johnson as Megatron. As a Notre Dame fan, Jerome the Bus Bettis. One of the greatest to ever do it. So you have those. Pretty solid. Then you get into the creative ones. One of my personal favorites, Viking quarterback Josh Dobbs, is the Pastronaut because he worked at NASA while playing in the NFL. And that just makes
I didn't
sense.
know that.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Cool.
That's that's a clever nickname.
It's a good
I like
career.
it.
Astronaut. I like that as well.
Yeah.
There's that.
Do you know what he did?
With
At
NASA?
NASA? Yeah.
It was 2 externships. I don't really know what that
Okay.
is, but it's just like
While he was like
While he was working with the Vikings.
Wow.
That's
Doubling
crazy.
down. I mean, he's just a super genius. Kind
He can
of
do
like
it all.
Jalen Brown, but
Can
with
do
the
it all.
NFL.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Tennessee boy.
And then we got a Hawks favorite, Dyson Daniels, the Great Barrier Thief. That just came into play this year from Australia.
That's a good one.
And I mean,
That's a good
The
one.
league in steals for a majority of the season. I don't know if he finished that off, but
Yeah.
I mean, he was just one of the best defenders as a guard in the entire NBA, and that's just a classic.
Yeah.
I think it's going to stick for a while, hopefully, if he stays around.
The Great
with the
Barrier
Hawks.
Thief.
That's
That's
great.
so funny.
And then you have the ones that are just dumb. Just
Absurd.
plain dumb, and I love it. You got Anthony Davis. Back when he was hurt almost every other day with the Lakers, they called him Anthony Data Davis, just with seeing
a good
how
one.
much he was on the injured list. And I don't know if y'all ever saw this, but there was a TikTok trend for a while where some guy on House of Highlights made a post with Jason Tatum calling him the Anomaly. And nobody had ever called him the Anomaly before. He tried to throw in a nickname, see if it made it work, and it just flopped so hard. And nobody got it. So people just started making these like random, stupid nicknames. Like they called Christian Braun the Eccentricity. They called Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the Conundrum. And it never made sense. It was just dumb. But it was
just their nicknames.
funny. And
Yeah.
if you can just like remember one of those, it's great to just pull up in a game.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, I like some of my favorites. I'm trying to think like I was talking about them like old Braves nicknames. Like when Jock Peterson, I don't know what year was that?
It was
that
2020. No,
2021.
Yeah.
2021 when we won World Series. That, I mean, just the whole Jocktober. I know it wasn't really a nickname,
pearls,
but like
everyone
the
wearing
pearls.
Became
I mean,
iconic.
that him coming to this stadium for the playoffs and just like postseason was the best time of baseball. Like if I could go
Yes.
back to October of 2021, I would.
quite electric.
It was quite electric.
I'm getting chills.
I
really
honestly
thinking
am
about
too.
it.
That was one of my favorites. Josh Donaldson, the bringer of rain. He used to hit and come in, and they used to give him an umbrella, and he used to walk through the dugout. It was awesome. And then just some simple ones. I love like Karl Anthony Towns is just cat. I think that's so clean,
Simple.
and I love it. And he's so fun to watch. I think he's hilarious. So like him, Ant-Man.
Forgot to mention this one. I know this is a really old one, but I love the nickname Primetime for Deion Sanders. Love Primetime.
That one's good.
It's so iconic. It is so iconic. Deion
good.
Sanders is just so iconic.
I think a lot of nicknames, especially like with WWE, become a part of their name. Like you got Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yep.
I don't think anyone says Steve Austin anymore. Like, and you got Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Who
Oh my
The Rock
gosh.
is just like
Yeah,
replaced
The
his
Rock.
name.
No one ever calls
I've
him
never heard Dwayne
Dwayne Johnson
in the
anymore.
last
He's
10
just The
years.
Rock now,
It's just
which
The
is
Rock.
great.
Yeah. So
That's kind of taking it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
nicknames are just a part of life now.
They're so easy to remember too. I mean, that's how I remember people.
Really?
Nicknames.
Yeah.
Lots of people I remember through
Some of my
nicknames.
favorite things is I saw this I think on like Instagram the other day is when you hear like someone else call someone else another like a nickname, you're kind of like, oh, I want to know like where that came from.
Oh,
Like because
yeah.
some people like call their friends the most absurd things, but they've called them that since they were like in 3rd grade. So now like that's just what their nickname is forever. And I honestly think that's so like fun. I'm like, oh,
great.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This week we have the Braves are taking on the Phillies at home this weekend. So I'm super excited, especially after the Mets series. Hoping for another National League East win for the series would be amazing. So fingers crossed with that. And then I know, David, you had a couple big UFC fights coming up.
Oh yeah,
Sarah and I know a lot about it.
UFC 317 comes out June 28th. One of the best fights. It's a rarity where we get 2 title bouts.
I feel like everyone says like it's the biggest fight of the
They
year.
try to make
That's
it the
what.
biggest.
Yeah, that's what
Like it's
I
like
hear.
316, 317, the biggest fight of the year. I'm like, is it the biggest fight of the
Is
year?
it? Is it? I've heard that. I heard
Is
that
it?
2 weeks ago.
Also, UFC, I've realized I've watched one fight before. They come on at like midnight.
It's great.
I'm not
Yeah.
staying up for that.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
going to
away from
bed.
Every other
Yeah.
sport, it's just like its own thing.
I
Try to
just,
stay away from prime time.
I don't know. I just can't do
it
it.
just makes it like sound illegal.
I know. It
Yeah.
is illegal. Most people like pirate it anyway. They don't even. No one. It's
Yeah.
pay-per-view. No one pays
Who would do
for it.
that?
Who pays for it?
People bet on these people to like beat each other up.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what?
No, I just can't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't condone violence.
I see very exciting matchup for both of them, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of stuff coming up this week, and we got a lot of stuff coming up this month, and with All-Star coming up in July, we'll probably talk about that later in the episode. But next week, make sure you guys come back and listen, and Janae will be here hosting with some more guests, so make sure to stay tuned. But thank you all for joining us for the 4th episode of The Rookies. Bye.
Thank you.
Be back.
Yeah.